Happy Halloween. Welcome to another episode of Flashback 64, the spooky Nintendo 64 podcast. I am your host, Gooey, and I'm joined by my co-host, McKenna.
Hello.
And you know what we're doing. We're continuing our Witch movie double feature series that we started not on Halloween last year, but we thought it had been actually more than a year, and we're like, let's get that in. Halloween's coming up. Mm-hmm. Perfect. So maybe we can make this like an actual show tradition. Lock it in.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Sounds good.
And of course, we are joined by our favorite people to do these movie double features with. From the Media Made podcast, we've got Jess and Rod. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hi.
Hey, we're good.
We're great. I love the idea of witches every year. If I get a vote, I vote for that tradition.
McKenna's got a whole list.
Yeah, I just listed all the witch movies that came out. Witch movies and shows that came out in the 90s.
We've kept it 90s, but we might even be able to bend the rules.
Well, our era goes into the early 2000s.
True. I want to watch Witches of Eastwick, which is like 87 or something. So I want to
bend it that way.
Yeah, bend it. Yeah, we can't. No mid to late 2000s. Ugh. Yeah, Jess, Rod, how's everything going? You guys feeling? We're recording this. This for us. This is like kicking off the holiday season. We're recording at the end of September, but it's going to come out the week of Halloween. Are you guys feeling the spooky spirit, or what's going on over there?
Well, it is currently 76 degrees in our home.
It's 90 degrees outside, so not quite.
So yes, very cozy, right?
Not festive enough.
I feel like that's cozy though.
I did have my first pumpkin spice latte this morning.
There you go. Nice. Yeah,
nice.
It's like I think today's the first day of autumn. So.
Oh, nice.
It's close. We're close.
I had a pumpkin spice ice cream.
Yeah,
because I felt like it.
Oh, that sounds
shaped
good.
like a jack-o'-lantern. So we are in the mood.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you've been going into the pumpkin. We've had some good pumpkin stuff so far.
Yeah, we gotten some Trader Joe's stuff. They have a pumpkin brioche, and we made French toast with it a few times.
Oh, it's been so good.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving her ideas. I see your brain working.
Yeah. Well,
I like French toast.
I was never big on French toast till before we started dating and then eventually married, and now I always have it, and I think you've really opened my world.
There's kind of a range of French toasts.
Yeah.
Like French toast can be very basic and simple.
No, yeah, you've got very elaborate French toast.
Yeah, McKenna, I'm going to need to see either some pictures or recipes of those. Thank you very much.
Oh, we've got some. Yeah, you'll have to send them.
Yeah.
Well, so I hope everybody's got some pumpkin French toast. Maybe got a good pumpkin spice latte. We're bringing you another episode, like we said, a witch double feature, and we're moving forward. Our first episode that we did was on the witches and Hocus Pocus, and that was kind of the early 90s, and that was sort of I don't want to say it was the traditional view of the witch, because we do have planned to do cover actual more historical views of the witches. I guess the early 90s witches, McKenna, wouldn't you say they were more of the
evil?
The evil,
yeah, just straight evil. Not much new, well-rounded.
No sympathy.
Yeah, there's one good witch in The Witches, but we're starting to see more witches as good or morally gray characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, before it was I think of it as the post. I don't know if this is actually what started it, but the Wizard of Oz, Wicked Witch type witch, and then now we're I think these two movies today, they paired up pretty well because they're like the modern. They're at least for their contemporary time, like trying to be like a modern spin on it with infuse some like modern themes of like feminism and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just get into them and talk about them. We'll see how we think about how these movies get their ideas across and stuff like that. And I'm glad to have you, Rod and Jess, here because you guys always are really good at nailing like the story aspects of the movie, where I'm always just like, I like the vibes, So always love to have your thoughts.
The stories of these two movies, I think they're a ride. I want to say up front, like I think this is one of those double features where it's like you listener, you need to watch these movies without any knowledge of what happens first. You need to experience these movies in with no knowledge of what's going to happen because it's insane.
Agreed.
Hello, we are Kirby Conversations, a podcast on Kirby, along with other adjacent subjects like Smash Brothers, HAL Laboratory, and other related Nintendo games.
In each episode, we take an in-depth, well-researched look at a Kirby topic, drawing on our decades of experience playing Kirby games, creating Kirby-related content, and working in and around the video game industry. I'm Sean Douglas. I'm a theater and video game journalist.
And my name's Bridget. I'm an online Kirby commentator and collector.
Our team also includes photographer and Nintendo ambassador Kai, Captain Dangerous Parker, and Gigi, the editor-in-chief of Wick Kirby. Join us for deep dives into Kirby's history, interviews with industry professionals, and even inside looks at Nintendo, as together we explore all things Kirby and HAL Laboratory. You can find Kirby Conversations on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
We'll go chronologically here. McKenna, continuing our tradition, I've got the back of, we don't have this one on VHS, but I pulled up the back of the VHS box. If you can, it's not a great image. This is the best image I could find of it. So.
It's fine. It's readable.
All right, tell us about it.
Sarah has always been different. So as the new girl at St. Benedict's Academy, she immediately falls in with the high school outsiders. But these girls won't settle for being powerless misfits. They have discovered the craft, and they are going to use it. Critics are spellbound, calling the craft slick, shrewd, touching, funny, and most appropriately, downright mean.
All right, downright mean. That's what we like to hear.
Yeah. Jess is ready.
I also
we could be mean back.
I want to throw in too this top quote here from Dr. Donald Reed from the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror. Devilishly delightful and deliciously wicked, a must-see for all. So
got that back of the box alliteration again. Everyone has it.
I thought they were talking about a Hostess cupcake.
Yeah, movie quotes that could also, that would be a good game. Movie critic poll quote or Hostess cupcake description. The Craft, which is from May 3rd, 1996, directed by Andrew Fleming and written by Fleming and Peter Filardi. Has anyone, I knew about this movie and it kind of now has both of these movies have a cult following or whatever, but I had never really fully seen it. McKenna, had you?
I had never seen it before.
Okay, how about Rod, Jess? Either you seen this before?
No, I historically am a scaredy cat. So if the box looks like the box looks for this, I would have been like, no. I'm going to sleep instead.
But I think if Jess had seen this as a teenager, it would have connected with her.
Yeah,
because this movie's right up her alley. Whereas because
I'm mean.
I know you like witches and and goth stuff.
Yeah.
I think if I had seen this movie in high school, I would have had a crush on all the goth girls. But
fair.
Yeah, I definitely, I remember whenever I definitely Fairuza Balk, stuff she's in, I definitely seen her as a kid and definitely could have developed a crush on her for sure. I don't know what, I guess we can talk about the plot details and everything. And Rod, you kind of hinted at like this movie's both these are wild, but just generally, what'd you think of this movie?
I thought it was interesting about midway through, her and we have not seen this movie, but we have seen a similar witch movie from the 80s called Teen Witch.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Have you two seen Teen Witch?
No.
I've seen the what is it? Is that the Top That?
That one scene?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the Top That movie.
I've seen that scene.
And that's a good scene. But the plot of Teen Witch is the 80s version of The Craft, where it's a teenage power fantasy, or like wish fulfillment, where teenage outcasts want to get revenge on the bullies and get the jock to fall in love with them. It's sort of like teenage girl wish fulfillment via magic. Both movies do that.
Very different vibes.
Very different vibes. One's very 80s and The Craft is very 90s.
And one is like a little bit more whimsical and the other one is The Craft.
I don't know. They're both a little,
Mammon's only in one of them.
That's true.
Yeah,
no ancient demons.
There's a little bit of whimsy here, but it's similar to, we'll talk about Practical Magic. They both like do kind of like shift tones a little bit, and this movie does go, by the end it becomes like more straight up horror, I guess you could say.
Yeah. And it definitely leans in more horror than Teen Witch does, but the idea that, hey, I'm going to use my magic to get what I want as a teenager, and then that backfiring hard on the main character by the end is the same in both.
Really? Okay.
Yes. It would be a great double feature with Teen Witch and this. And we also said Heathers.
That's a triple feature. But yeah, just as a movie night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Have you seen Heathers?
Yes. Yeah, I love it.
Haven't.
You haven't? We
No.
should watch that. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I love Heathers.
And then go find a musical theater group that is doing Heathers after watching the movie.
Oh.
Jess and I have seen Heathers the musical.
Yeah. It was great.
Whoa, that sounds so cool. Yeah, I think I had read like one of the reviews. I read a couple of reviews and like one compared it to Heathers mixed. It was like Heathers mixed with, it might have been, I don't remember. Maybe it was Teen Witch actually, but
Heathers meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But even I'm not even, like the Buffy everyone knows hasn't even come out yet.
The original Buffy we're talking about.
I mean,
The good Buffy. The movie Buffy. Sorry, that's not what you were asking. You were asking about his feelings about this movie. We've talked about 6 others.
yeah. Well, actually, Jess, what do you think just generally about the movie?
I thought it was a lot of fun. Rod's right. Like, I really like witches, and I'm currently like, well, I say currently, I am in a couple of weeks / 2 months going to be like diving into some more research for a book that I'm working on.
Oh, cool.
But I've like always really liked witches. So when we were watching this, there was some stuff that I was like, that seems wrong. Or that's really interesting that and I like made him pause a lot to like talk about like, I was like, at some point I was like, a Wiccan was on this, weren't they?
Jess has a knowledge of like witchcraft and, like, I don't know where you picked that up.
I don't know. A lot of books, a lot of TV, I don't know. I will say I'm not like a Wiccan and I'm not a practicing witch or something. So I'm like, some of the stuff that I say is like, that is a vibe thing. I don't know if that's how people actually practice, but there's some stuff in here I was like, wait a minute. I see what you're doing.
Yeah, I think I actually had read they did have a consultant.
Both of these movies did.
Right. And I think that it was the other one that had like some drama surrounding that.
Yes.
Yeah, here I pulled a quote from the director / writer. The consultant on the set helped write the chants and incantations. Pat Devon, she's credited in the movie as a technical consultant, but she was really there to make it real. I wanted Wiccans to see it and say, yeah, that's not offensive to me. That's what it's like. The whole idea was to make up stuff because the god that they refer to in the movie is something that we made up because it might have been offensive to people if we had used people's real gods. We created our own. So,
okay.
Very smart, very sensitive, culturally sensitive in a way a lot of movies of this time was not.
Yeah, I think when you two talked about Hocus Pocus and the witches being much more campy, the witches are definitely like they're just evil.
Yes, yeah.
They're funny but evil. These two movies are much more respectful to the craft.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
People who practice that thing.
Because they do sort of use the witchcraft in the movie. Like, they kind of get, all the girls sort of, like, get their comeuppance as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't present it as, like, you know, it's not like total, there's the wish fulfillment aspect, but then they sort of get, you know, you get it back at three. What did they say? You get it back 3 times.
And
Three times.
Yeah.
So there is a sort of like, you know, it's not just like, oh, you get this and it makes your life all good, but you can, when you watch it, you can tell like that they also wanted to present it in, you know, they wanted to sort of treat it respectfully in a way, which is, yeah, I feel like for this time, that's kind of something.
Yeah. And I also like really enjoyed that our like protagonist, our main character, also had those things. It wasn't just like, well, she's the good one, so she doesn't have consequences. Like, no, all have consequences shaped by what they look like. So I thought that was really well done story-wise as well.
Yeah, there was sort of like a with great power comes responsibility type thing, you know, like, hey, don't
plot armor for no one.
Right.
Everyone can catch these hex hands.
McKenna, what did you think?
Well, first, I said this before about both movies, but I just was noticing how like colorful and warm the vibes of both are. Even when they get into like darker material, it feels you know, cozy in some ways and celebratory of the craft. I thought a lot about like how it's, you know, teenagers and it's a time in your life where you're, you know, gaining more independence and responsibility and figuring out how to manage that, and oftentimes you don't quite get that right, which, you know, aligns a lot with the whole magic usage.
Yeah, it sort of reminds me of like, I don't know why, but like Christine, where it's like,
Jess said that.
oh yeah. Okay, cool. I'm glad I'm not just going out on a ledge here, but like, yeah, it reminded me of like the characters gain this power to like become cool, but so they let it go to their head.
Even like a Carrie situation.
Oh, big time Carrie for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I
even Mean Girls. I felt like Mean Girls would have been an interesting like pairing with this one too, because it's like, you know, it's the teenage experience. I think when we watched this, I was like, yeah, this is what it's like to be a teenager, and the magic is like, you know, a conduit to discuss what it's like to be, you know, weird in high school.
Yeah, and that's, I think you were talking about like kind of the warm vibes of it all. Like it did feel like you could have taken like a teen, and it's like, and it's sort of it's in Los Angeles, right? So it's like a teen LA movie, and then you kind of inject like the witch stuff into it. Actually, do you guys want to tell us how do you think this how does this capture LA? Is it fair LA vibes here?
I think just the like, it's like dirty LA. I think that was kind of that stuck out to me, where like they go and hang out at some, just like, it looked like a plot of undeveloped land, and they just sit on like a dirty couch
Just in the woods.
Yeah, and there are just like, you know, some dudes warming themselves by a barrel fire in the background, you know. And I was like, yeah, I guess I pictured parts of LA being like that. And they walk on, you know, like they walk through like Hollywood a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Not enough cars on the street.
Yeah. Someone runs into the middle of the street, and I'm like, you wouldn't even get that far in LA traffic. I think foot.
You were at several points. You're like, what does this dad do? This house is far too nice.
That seemed a little
They were
like you know, unbelievable. Was this single father with his teenage daughter affording that giant like Spanish style mansion?
Right. Yeah, that's actually when it started. We were not sure where it took place, or you pointed it out.
Yeah, I was like, where does this take place? It's like, it's pouring rain. It has like either California or Florida vibes, but it's raining, which makes me lean more Florida, but I also was like, maybe not.
Well, so I will say this, they went to LAX because like the first shot when they get to the airport and it's raining, they have the big LAX dome thing. I don't even know what that thing is. It's just like in LAX in the middle, and you're like, oh, okay, this is LA. It's just raining, which is, I guess, something. It does rain here,
like twice a year. Yeah,
it's raining today a little bit.
It rains that heavily? No.
I pulled this quote from Roger Ebert's review that I thought was funny that speaks to this. He said, "Where exactly in Los Angeles are there Gothic mansions in Bayou country? Even the La Brea tar pits are landscapes. Never mind. The mansion is essentially making a guest appearance as atmosphere."
I think that I read that whole mansion anyway. The interior is all a set.
Oh, really? Okay.
Which honestly, it's a pretty impressive set. Like the tile and like kind of like wood floorboards, and I was like, that's pretty neat.
Yeah. Like, could you build me a set? Thanks.
But it is a very dreamlike version of LA. Like it just kind of could be. It's like a Nightmare on Elm Street where they shot in LA, but it really could be anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Totally. So I guess I'm thinking of that mansion in the beginning and the guy coming in, and then you also mentioned this guy gets run over later in the movie.
Yes,
that for me was where I started to think like this is kind of sus, because for me, I felt bad for this guy. Like clearly he was like a guy who was like a homeless guy with like I don't know, he probably had like mental issues and stuff like that, and it was like, I don't know if the movie presents this character as sympathetic. He's just like a scary guy. But I was like, when I was thinking about it, I was like, damn, that's really dark that guy got killed, you know?
It really doesn't even go anywhere. I think it's just like to freak the main character out a little bit. Like it's like this bad omen, like she's being followed or
right
by a person with a snake. I really
she
thought it was
snakes
go
everywhere.
Somewhere.
Yeah. And I was like, this poor guy. I don't know. It bummed me out a little bit, but maybe we could talk about the characters. So yeah, the lead, I guess sort of the lead character, that's Sarah, who's played by Robin Tunney. And well, she's like you read the synopsis, right? She's like the new kid.
Yeah, they moved from San Francisco. Is that where they moved from?
Yes,
yeah.
San Francisco to LA.
And she has like I think they all kind of have like some part of their life, like some kind of dark thing that informs like, what their sort of motivation is. She well, I guess we'll start with her. Rod, like what'd you think of this character?
Well, I thought like they trigger warning, I guess, but like they tell you early on that she is, has self-harm issues, and she had lost her mom, and so she lived with her dad, and like I found her like pretty relatable, like I've had kind of, she was a sympathetic character to go on to, and then she's your entry point into the lives of these teenage witches, because she's the outsider and she has to be kind of introduced to everything, even though she has innate powers. So she's like balancing a pencil in
with
French
her mind
class.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it spins.
Yes. And so she gets, noticed by a Scream Girl.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So then there's the crew. I guess, Jess, what do you think about the witch crew she runs into here? We've got Bonnie, who's played by Neve Campbell, Rochelle, who's played by Rachel True, and Nancy, who's Firuza Balk. They're already kind of doing their thing, and they're like looking for someone to add to their crew. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that it starts off with them. The very opening is them doing a summoning spell to call their fourth of their coven. And I think that there's a lot of like really fun aspects with them. I said this to Rod. I think I say this every time we watch something that is of this era and has like teens being bullied. I'm like, that's not what high school was like for me. I was not a cool kid, but I like did not get bullied in the way that like people do in movies this way. And so sometimes I find that pretty unrealistic. But the way that they kind of other themselves by the way they dress, by how they like talk to each other, and intentionally like make themselves like they isolate themselves because they, even if they're not like cool by the standards of society, what they're doing is really cool to them. They are really into it, right? Even at one point, Sarah says like, "Oh, you guys are really into this stuff." And they're like, "Yeah, dog." So I'm always a fan in general of friend groups that are like, I don't care if other people don't like this. If we like it and we are cool with each other, I love that. I'm like, yeah, do your freaky thing all by yourself. We like it. So I liked in general them. I think as individuals, it was interesting because the balance was a little bit off with how each of their stories were told about what their issues were, and how that connected to what their big wishes were. But I don't know. It was interesting to watch that build out of just like, oh, these are just some girl. Very much my brain like, these are just the anime kids. Like they're just they're just doing anime memes in the corner by themselves, and then a new kid comes is like, do you want to join our anime crew? And that's more or less like what it felt like. And then it started to build as it's revealed to the main character and to us. And obviously we know from the opening that like, no, it's more than just that. Like it is us actually practicing, us wanting to see these things come into fruition, and us knowing what needs to come next as a full coven, what we need to do, and how they kind of like especially at first genuinely pull her in, seeing that she has something extra, and then like kind of like, hey, don't talk to that creepy jerk. Nancy's not the best communicator, so she could have said it better and not made it seem like she was just being weird. But they did like look out for her and like draw her in and become a support system and help her a lot in just some of the struggles that she had, like leaving San Francisco and coming here, having problems in her school beforehand. Also, unrelated, when a main character is called Sarah, all I can do is hear Hoggle calling Sarah in the labyrinth. So every time her name is said, I just hear Hoggle going, Sarah!
That's distracting, yeah. I like what you said about Nancy, like bad communicator. I think that carries throughout the film. There's a couple times in the movie where I'm like, what are you doing?
She's definitely the most into it. I think she's the most damaged. Has the most issues. So she really needs this Manon thing.
Yeah.
Like she really needs it. And the other girls are like, they're invested, but she's almost like singularly focused on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess they do show she has a fairly bad home situation.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe we can set up all these characters kind of, I guess what their motivation is, and then it leads to like kind of like what their payback they're looking to enact. I don't know, McKenna, any of them that like for you stood out as like the most interesting?
The most interesting, I don't know. They kind of had like varying, maybe not levels, but
yeah,
they all had like a very different, like, you know, her Nancy's home life and having a abusive father,
like just, extreme. Yeah, he was pretty extreme.
Yeah. That really I think having that home life that she doesn't, it makes it hard to separate that from anything else. It just really impacts her whole life and how she feels all the time. I
think that's probably why she's like in the movie. She's like almost like a counter to. Well, I don't know. I guess Sarah, I don't think we get the idea that she has like necessarily like a bad parental like her dad.
I think she seems they're not really there through the movie, but there's no indication that
her mother
like she's got her stepmom, but who we don't see, right?
Do we see
that she has a stepmom?
Yeah, she does.
What the
They mention it, yeah, because they talk about the plane, the like fake.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I remember that happening. I do not remember a stepmom being present.
Yeah, they don't really.
She never showed up on screen.
Glossed over. And I'm like, we don't ever see her, but they're like, she's like, where's my dad and my stepmom? So you know, she's concerned about them. She definitely doesn't want them gone. But yeah, they're not really there they're not present in the film, at least. But yeah, you definitely have this whole thing with her mother being dead, and there's kind of since she's a natural witch, supposedly, it's like, is there some kind of connection there?
Oh. When I think of practical magic, I'm like, I guess it could be a family thing.
Yeah,
they don't really.
That is something. Because they both have in both movies. There's like a absent parent thing.
I think, like, along with what you're saying, McKenna, that the kind of issues of the other girls, of Sarah, Bonnie, and Rochelle, are a lot more like menial, and I don't really want to say that, compared to the issues that Nancy has, right? Like, yeah. I think in the grand scheme of thing, when I think about how all of their issues affect them, the other three are very high school centered, whereas Nancy's is a lifelong thing. Where like Bonnie, her biggest thing is like she has scars all over her body and she wants to not have them because she wants to be beautiful on the outside and the inside. That's her biggest wish. But she's really focused on that outside bit more than anything else. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But I feel like as we are adults not in high school, we can look through and it's like, yeah, you're being made fun of for scars on your body. And trust me when I say those people will no longer be in your life and you're going to be better for it. Once you're out of here, for Rochelle, she's being bullied specifically for racial reasons. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yep, that is going to follow you your whole life. But once you're out of this insular place and you're able to actually build your life, it really shifts. And then the same for Sarah, where I don't really know, like her big thing is, I don't know. We don't really know why she attempted. We don't know other than like she was being picked on. We know that her mom died in childbirth, and that's something that is hung with her, and that she has dreams, and probably a lot of it is like, I would assume, magic acid reflux of not being able to be trained and not knowing, like if you grow up and you're like, what is puberty? Very much like Carrie, where you're like, I'm freaking out. What is happening to my body? Nobody's ever explained like why my mood is changing like this, why I'm shifting like this. Like, I could understand her being like, I don't understand what's happening to me. I can't go to my dad about it. I can't go to my stepmom about it. And everybody's calling me weird and a freak, and I can make pencils float. So I probably am weird and a freak. So I can understand like her being like, I have no one to like lead and train me in this. And eventually she lives in California. Somebody would find her and help to train her. But I think with Nancy, like I think it was like the man her mom was with is her stepfather, right? Like it was her second husband, which is why there was also some weird other stuff happening. And the mom at least tried to protect her a little bit, I guess.
And they live in a trailer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like it's the most realistic, realistically bad situation amongst the girls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where I think like the rest of the girls are more well off, right? We obviously see Sarah's home. We see Bonnie's home when they spend the night at. I could only expect that Rochelle also has that kind of life, because the response she gets when Nancy walks away, she's just, I don't know, her wish isn't coming true. She doesn't want to be white trash, but honey, you can't, that's mm-hmm. the flippant response that I think that like all of this has been ingrained in this girl's character in her heart all her life. So when she's able to break free of that, she's knowing power when she's never known power. And I think that sits in her differently, and being like, the only way I was able to break out of the awfulness of how I grew up and the awfulness of my mom's husband was to get stronger and to get rid of my stepdad. I may have given him a heart attack. So if there are people who are not helping me, then I just need to get rid of them, right? Yeah. Whereas the other girls are like, well, my scars are gone and I'm pretty and everybody likes me. I have no issues. Well, my main bully is gone. So the boy who snubbed me, I have him chasing me. And so for them, their kind of like vision of like what power looks like, because their problems were more momentary or more recent, than Nancy's. I think that's where the divide in like their stories and their characters really show up, which is why Nancy doesn't communicate well. For him, you know,
for the other three girls, their desires is much more juvenile.
Yeah.
Whereas Nancy's is a very like, it is a struggle that someone would have from childhood to adulthood with that growing up in that environment.
Yeah, it's like traumatizing. So like I think that's well said. I think that probably describes then, or like it fits why then she is like the one to kind of like almost take on she becomes like the villain of the movie, right? And it is because of like what you said, like she's the one like who's really grasping onto that power. That's great. I love that. I was gonna ask, like, do we think Sarah, like, do we think maybe we should have had more with like that explained kind of her backstory, I guess, because it is like maybe they just thought like she does like self-harm and stuff, so it's like, is that enough? I kind of took it for granted a little bit, like watching the movie. I was just kind of went along like, oh yeah, like it's really bad for her. That's why I kind of remembered it as she had like a bad home life. But then yeah, thinking about it, it doesn't seem that bad. It just seems like she has like the dreams and she's missing her mom, you know?
Yeah, I honestly think that they should have, like, I maybe they didn't feel comfortable doing this in a respectful way, because I think you could with self-harm you have to be very careful. But part of me thinks that they probably should have leaned more into her, you know, maybe psychological issues if she had any, more than the boy thing. They kind of tacked on this thing for Sarah in the first act where they said, well, she had a kind of she went out with a jock boy for one night and she thought they were developing a relationship, and then he, in an attempt to be cool with his friends, snubbed her and said, oh, you know, it's never going to happen again. And she felt bad about it. And so the rest of the movie, her main, you know, wish and desire is to have that boy just be obsessed with her, because she, you know, and I felt maybe they should have given that to Bonnie's character.
Yeah, because she you know? Like wanted her thing. She wanted to be viewed as like she wanted to be like beautiful, pretty, I guess you could say, or like she had like a kind of more self-image issue in her appearance, I guess you could say.
Because Bonnie, her, you know, when she wishes that her scars go away, and they do, and she's able to, like, you know, kind of dress how she wants and, you know, be a beautiful person, and the boys are kind of like, oh, hey, Bonnie. Her, the reprisal for that is just that she becomes kind of selfish and, you know, into herself.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, I was like, that's a character issue, not a, you get what you deserve, or, you know, like kind of a wish gone wrong situation. It's just like, hey, Bonnie, just be a better person. What's your problem?
That's a great point.
I will also say, just to your point with the attempt for Sarah, both of it, like, I don't know. I definitely think there needed to be more, but I think especially for that, Rod and I both had a visceral reaction upon seeing her scars, because like, that I was like, because we were like, oh, and somebody was like, oh, what do you do? I was like, oh, well, I attempted, and we expected to see horizontal scars, and we instead of seeing one vertical one, which
is very bad.
Sorry, absolutely trigger warnings for stuff, but like that's not a cry for help. That is intent, right? Like, because that's going over very specific stuff that if you do not have help within 5 minutes, there's no saving you, right? So that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
And we never talk about it
again.
Which, you know, like that, like, and obviously she was open to talking about it because she said something and she was like, had her wrist out, you know, and it was just like, so what's the real problem? I can understand you being like, why Goo, you were like, she must have had a bad life at home, because that is a very, like, no other attempt scars. That's just one ropey scar. And so it's just like one of those things where, yeah, I don't know what her motivations are. I don't know really what it is that she wants. So I wish they had done more for her character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really,
I think the solving of giving the boy problem to Bonnie would have been better.
And because I just brought up, like, kind of her realization that she's a witch and getting invited into this community it could have been a more concrete metaphor for, you know, becoming an adult, puberty, the you know, just the awkwardness of high school, that in between state. But they don't really do that.
Yeah.
They set it up, right, but they don't pay it off.
Yeah, it really felt like with the scars, it was just kind of the movie being like, enough said, like we've showed it. She's got problems.
It was alarming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very like I think it's Bonnie who's like, you did them the right way.
Yeah.
Which like really stuck out.
Yeah, she did say that.
They say it kind of like almost like flippantly or like
yeah, she's
which
like, oh
seemed
wow,
authentic
like,
to how
she was impressed. Which was like,
yeah. But I could see that as like because it did have sort of the the teen meanness to it. You know what I mean? Where you can look at something like that. I mean,
I did think about it at the end when they Nancy does the cuts, but they're the other way.
I think it. Sorry, I'm gonna just shift it really quick here, but I also like the idea of just speaking of pairing up the guy with Bonnie. Nev Campbell would be better because the guy is Skeet Ulrich.
Oh yes,
who we just talked about Rod back with our holiday movie, where As Good as It Gets. But of course, later that year, Nev Campbell and Skeet Ulrich would be an item in the first Scream the same year.
Yeah.
So they hung out a lot that year.
I was going to say this. I mean, shifting gears a little bit. This movie has all of these actors and actresses right before they were famous.
Yep.
Like all these people would go on to do other things. Sarah's actress is the girl from The Mentalist.
Yeah, she's the main character of The Mentalist.
Oh, okay. I feel like I know her from something else, but now I've forgotten. I meant to write down, but I didn't want to spend. If I did it for everyone, it would have been like me naming what they're from the whole time. I know her from something else.
And Nev Campbell in Scream, obviously. And then, First Bulk had been around for a while already.
Yeah, she played Dorothy in Return to Oz. She was in a witch.
The Worst Witch.
The Worst
show?
Witch TV show.
Oh, I didn't know that was her. Cute.
Yeah, she's a little kid actress. So, yeah.
She was not very good at being a witch there.
Even
she, in fact, was the worst.
the bully who has her hair fall out, Laura, is played by Christine Taylor, who's also in a bunch of stuff.
Zoolander, yeah.
Zoolander, right?
I don't think is she in Zoolander? She's in Dodgeball.
She's in Dodgeball and Zoolander.
She married that man.
She gets so yeah, that's the comeuppance, I guess. For it's not really comeuppance, but I guess they see like, oh, the stuff that we were kind of they're experiencing now, because she's like bullying them, and then they put a curse on her and all her hair falls out, and it's pretty sad to watch. She's
very grotesque.
Yeah, because that's really tough, because it's happening like, she's at school and like doing all this stuff, and like her hair is falling out. That's like, I think, worse than maybe what Bonnie was dealing with. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I guess that's the point. The curse, but again, the curse came back to afflict someone else. So
yeah, that's that's the connection with Teen Wish, where the teenager uses their powers to get what they think they want as a teenager in a very juvenile way. Well, I want my bullies to feel what it's like to be bullied, or I want this boy to be madly in love with me. But then when you take that to its logical extreme, where it just doesn't stop.
Yeah,
this girl who was a bully and deserved to be disciplined in the very least for some of the things she said. You see Rochelle kind of feel sorry for the fact that she put this curse on this girl, because her hair is falling out in the shower and she's like desperate and crying. It's really sad. And then I don't want to dwell too much on this, but when you wish for a boy to be madly in love with you, the logical extreme is actually very scary and terrifying. If this guy is like so desperate to be with you. Yes.
But that too, I mean, that was one of the ones where I was like, well, I guess that is one that's, coming back at her, even though it was maybe a bit, well, I don't know. I guess the movie, because we were just talking about like the self-harm, like the movie isn't like, I guess, afraid to go certain places, but it did kind of, I was like, oh, this might get too dark.
Yeah, we we opted to skip. But once it reached the point where we felt like it was a little too much, we skipped ahead a little bit because we were concerned.
Yeah.
We were like, I don't know if I want to watch this.
No, two
Movies from different years have different ratings mean different things.
Yeah.
In different decades. And I was like, look,
that's true.
I don't know when this is going to stop.
Yeah, what people want and what they think is appropriate to show, for sure. But no, I think and it's different for everyone, but I do feel like it stopped almost like it started. I was like, oh my God. And then they immediately shut it down. I was like, oh, thank fucking God.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Good to hear. That was intense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely very 90s, pushing the envelope. I think of 96, right? I'm media in 96 was we're going to push the envelope.
We're going to go
You know?
there. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything from cartoons to wrestling.
Oh my God.
Reckless,
Yeah. Right.
abandoned.
Yeah. Yeah. We're in the Attitude Era. This is the Teen Witch of the Attitude Era.
I did throughout many parts of it. That was where that was okay, fun, the fun time is over. But for a lot of it, I was kind of thought Skeet Ulrich was funny, you know what I mean? Because he's just
Yeah.
when he's I don't he's I don't even she's why are you in love with me? And he's just I don't know, but I got I got this feeling and we're gonna be together forever. So stuff like that. It was really
I like when
stupid.
he shows up at her house at 3 a.m. and she's like, it's 3 a.m. Why are you here?
We should move in together.
Yes. I don't know why that got me, but then it definitely was oh, the fun is over.
Yeah.
Speaking of the crew, I don't really have anything for that. There's nothing about this character or anything, but Mitt, his friend, who is played by Breckin Meyer, I just didn't realize how short he was.
Oh yeah, that is not a tall man.
It's funny. I remember him from Rat Race.
Same,
which is not too much. Just a few years. Just 6 years from this movie. But it looks like he ages a lifetime. He's a boy in the craft, and he's a man in Rat Race.
That's great for all the short kings out there.
Yeah.
So Nancy's, I feel like her. Speaking of Nancy, and what we just saw with Chris, the thing with the party where she goes to the party, that was insane.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
She goes to the party and tries to get with Chris, impersonating Sarah, and I was like, this is.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't even quite what's going on here.
I that scene. I was just there was a lot of points towards the end of the movie where I was like, but what's the point, Nancy? Nancy, what's the point? Tell me what the point is, Nancy.
It's a power trip.
And it is about power, but I think anytime something is the motivation is I just want to do it because I can, I just start asking but what's the point? Why? But yeah, I think it was one of the, they had hooked up and he stopped chasing her, and because of a magic spell was chasing her friend, and she was just nah, I'm gonna. Why? What's the point? It's just a high school is all I can say. It's why are we doing it?
Well, you look at Nancy's character. She is someone who had nothing. And then when she wished for Manon's power, it her stepdad dies. He leaves the family because he had some kind of union pension. He leaves the family several $1,000s, so they're able to move into a nice penthouse.
That was awesome.
Or something.
I thought.
It was. The mom is look at my
jukebox.
My jukebox.
Look at my very nice couch. The only two things in this house.
So Nancy went from having nothing to having kind of the world, from a teenager's perspective. So it's just well, now I just want more. Mm-hmm. What else can I get?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just he's under a spell. You know what I mean? It's it's a weird thing to be put off by, I guess. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Yeah.
But then they have a big showdown. That was it was kind of an epic battle between Nancy and Sarah. And yeah, it got kind of like horror movie there-ish at the end when they're duking it out in her house. What'd you think of the finale, McKenna?
Well, it was scary. You got all the critters first when they're before the actual fight takes place. They're doing the glamours. Is that what they're called? the like illusions.
Oh yeah.
They start off with like her dad and her stepmom aren't there. They've died in a plane crash, and then there's snakes and insects and rats just like everywhere. Which is it's very unsettling. They're crawling out of all kinds of spaces. So they're really trying to shake her before they even show up. And then the three come, and it feels like an unfair fight because it's 3 against 1, but
handicap match, yeah.
Yeah. She calls the demon. Is he a demon?
They kept saying it was a spirit. It was like not God, not the devil, but something in between that's everywhere.
Yeah, it's like he's nature, he's everything.
It's like a neutral kind of. It's how they use his powers.
Mm-hmm.
So she turns it back on them, and Rochelle and Bonnie get freaked out and leave. So it just becomes this ultimate like one-on-one.
Your main event.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see the like effects with the illusions and things.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately Sarah just like wishes that, or conjures that she will do no harm. She will not be able to harm Nancy will not be able to harm herself or anyone.
Mm-hmm. Got your ass twisted back on you or something, or like a
yeah, and that like Maman like says like he's mad at you. He's mad.
Then it ends in like the other ones are kind of, they're fine.
The other two.
The other two are like they're okay.
Lost their powers.
They come back and they're like, you want to hang out, but but it doesn't seem like they actually have good intentions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing there that's interesting is like they weren't really doing magic, like actually achieving anything before Sarah arrived.
Mm-hmm.
And now now that this is all gone down, they can't use magic again.
So they need her.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Can I submit a theory?
Yes, please.
So coven rules, it's best if there's, like 1 to 2 starts a coven. It's better if there's 3, and then by increments of 3, like 6 is good, 9 is good, 12 is good, kind of thing. And so it was also, all of this is hearsay, as I've not done a lot of study, just in case you get anyone in your comments being, she's wrong, possibly. And so I thought it was a little weird that they were calling a 4th when they already had 3. But I think the only person who actually had magic in that group was Nancy. And by adding in an actual magic person, they were able to funnel magic throughout the circle of people who are committed, right? Because I don't know, just because you never really see them do anything outside. Like Nancy was hard pushing a lot of stuff, and so was Sarah. And even when you see, I don't know, I just was like, I don't think they ever had it by themselves. I think they were like open to it in a conduit,
Yeah, the only time they're flying around is when Nancy's there.
Yeah. So I was just like, that might be it. And they're like, we don't have anything anymore. Want to hang out so that we can suck all your magic out? But I really liked the way that they did a lot of their spells and their incantations. I just thought they were really, besides the end, which was very much, it felt very more Hollywood of like, we're all floating and doing stuff. Every other part, they had to do an incantation. They had to do a chant. They had to do a spell. They needed
like a ritual.
They needed a ritual. They needed components. Getting very D&D to make things happen. Even at the very first, when they're making that covenant, when they're creating the circle, when they're the scene with the knife, where they're like, it would be better for you to run upon the sword than betray this covenant, do you want to commit, kind of thing. It was really nice to see that fully happen. But even in that scene, I said this to Rod, this probably has nothing to do with, I might be going on a tangent right now, but even in that scene, I found it was really interesting that it started with Rochelle passing it on, but they didn't close the circle when it ended with Nancy. It should have gone back to Rochelle.
Oh.
Like to fully close the circle so that the magic would be bonded, right? It instead is a line. It is not a full coven. Like there's that end piece missing.
Is that Nancy being selfish or?
But I also was sitting here was like, but also maybe it's a little bit too close to Wicca. And the person on set was like, hey, maybe don't fully complete a magic spell if you don't know what you're getting into. And you're like, that's fair. That's facts.
Like you might, yeah.
But
that you gave me an idea for a movie where they're making a movie about witchcraft, but then they accidentally do witchcraft.
Heck yeah.
That's a good idea.
You're like, oh, we're just doing some stuff. Don't just do some stuff. Don't just do some stuff, people.
That's Gooey's secret idea. Don't steal it.
Yeah, I'm gonna delete that. No, I didn't even think about that like we don't even, I took them doing magic like for granted because like you know the movie starts and we see them chanting and stuff like that and I'm just like, oh yeah, they're witches. But that's a great point that you never actually really like until Sarah gets involved, like you don't actually really see much go down.
Yeah, even in that, like they get the book The Craft because the lady at the shop gives it to Sarah. These other girls have been coming in, stealing from her, and in my headcanon, she makes sure it's non-magic items they're taking from her, but she doesn't give that book until a real witch of power walks into the house. It walks into her shop. And from there, they're like, that's when they start to really build up their coven. And even like some of the things that they do, like one of the spell that Rochelle does, tying in the hair of her enemy to her own hair, I was like, that's actually really good for protection. Like you keep a piece of them on you so that they cannot do harm to you because it would be like doing it to themselves kind of thing. And I was like, that's really cool. Like a lot of the little things they did, but it would always be like the person who put that hair in Rochelle was Sarah. The person who was doing the thing to Bonnie's back was Nancy. Like every point when like magic was being enacted, it was always one of those two, and they were like acting as counterpoints to each other.
Yo, so that could have been something, yeah, that came about like you said, because they actually had someone on set, like probably like inserting those sort of details into it, like, oh, you should do it this specific way. Whether they felt like they need to explain it or not, I think that really works. That's awesome. Another
example is whenever they go to the woman's shop, like it's sort of like a spiritualist shop. Mm-hmm. Jess, whenever that shopkeeper spoke, Jess said, "Oh, the Wiccan wrote that dialogue." Yeah,
I did keep going like, "A witch wrote that word." Yep. That was not in the original script. That was added in.
Yeah, because like the shopkeeper, is very magic, except promoting acceptance of witches, and it's just very like witch positive.
Witch positive. I like that. Well, that's awesome because sometimes movies, anything, it's not even whatever, a sci-fi movie will say, oh yeah, we had science consultants on. We watch certain Star Trek shows where they brag about how they have science consultants on the show, and you're watching it. I'm not going to name which show, and they're just spewing all this jargon, and you're like, this is bullshit, like what are they talking about? So you never know, like, and I definitely did not know watching this. It was all, like believable enough to me. So I appreciate that that actually like holds true, or, not 100% true. Like you said, there's things that are intentionally different, but I like that actually like in my mind heightens the movie even more so.
Yeah, I think even the quote you read at the beginning saying like, we didn't want to be offended, we wanted to make sure that it felt, I was like, I'm not part of that group, but I was like, I felt it. I was just like, oh, there are little things in here that are really interesting. Like, oh, it was fun. It was fun to like point out those things.
I just wanted to mention the like shopkeeper a bit more.
Yeah, please.
I thought she was really interesting, and I thought they were going to do more with her. Especially with like the back room and like the special that she had more of a connection with Sarah, and I was kind of seeing since her mother died, I was like they kind of going a like kind of motherly relationship here, like is she gonna act as a guide for her,
Mhm.
Which ultimately, she kind of goes on her own in the end. But
Yeah, there's definitely a few things in this that I feel like, maybe it could have been fleshed out more. I think the movie,
if that part felt like a bit of a loose end to me.
Yeah.
I think the movie's a bit at odds with, trying to be a like almost like a teen sort of comedy / serious / horror movie. So like, yeah, it feels like maybe there's a couple things that if this were made under different circumstances, like, we talked about some of the things lacking with the characters and stuff like that. Like maybe they could have had a more complete story for some of them.
Sometimes I'll watch movies like this and I'll be like, I wish this was a 6-part miniseries.
This could have been a Joss Whedon-led Buffy-style show, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's like a lot of lore.
And I mean, yeah, this was that's obviously there was the Buffy movie before, but I think isn't 96 when Buffy starts?
Is it 96? It's somewhere in there, like 98 or something.
Don't ask me numbers.
Definitely something was.
We watched season 1 because it's been in our timeline. We haven't gotten around to season 2.
Okay.
We stopped because I was like, we should just probably someday talk about this. So I wanted to save us from having to rewatch everything again. And for like
that's smart.
Forgetting it. Not that I enjoyed it, so I'd be happy to read.
97, by the way.
97. Okay. There's definitely something and that's why this movie, both of these movies we're talking about, they have that cult following. This movie, both of them actually were number 1 at the box office when they came out. And Jeff Blake, head of Sony Pictures / Columbia, said the teenagers loved it because it was their movie, and young women went for it because the sub theme about women taking control. I think that's the sub theme. I feel like, well, okay. We've had a lot of adult movies with big stars that haven't worked or certainly open like this. What tells you is that kids still drive a movie. And that just makes you think, like, I feel like a lot of movies that are cult followings are like movies, like the movies that I like that are cult movies. A lot of them I associate as like, yeah, I saw it when I was a kid, and maybe has like certain things that don't feel like complete or maybe rough edges or whatever, but because I saw it at that age and I really connected with some aspect they're going with the movie, like you're almost watching it in a different way, so like, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So this, for me, watching this movie now, like, yeah, I noticed some of the like wild tonal shifts and like things like that, but I think I liked it despite those things. And I think for other people it might be because of those things that they like them. Like, again, especially like some of my favorite movies I saw when I was a kid were movies that, like, because I hadn't experienced that, like movies that like do go to different places that I like hadn't sort of seen before. Like, oh yeah, I like a movie like this, I would have loved like the sort of comedic aspect of it, but then there's like darker things in it that for me, it might have been like the first time I ever saw a movie that tackles issues like that and stuff. So yeah, I think this movie did a great job with that.
Yeah,
I came out overall positive with the movie. I like it's like you said, rough around the edges, a little uneven, but it was. I just think it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I think I had one other quote from the Roger Ebert's review, just because he said the movie tilts too far in the direction of horror and special effects when it might have been more fun to make a satirical comedy about punk teenagers. And I could sort of see that, like if the movie was like more focused on like being this one sort of movie, and like you could have really run with the premise still, but like, really staying in like the specific lane, it might have felt more like, like I said, less kind of uneven, or like having different weird swapping tones and stuff. But I don't know, sometimes a movie's more interesting because it's not like that,
Mm-hmm.
It also won an MTV Movie Award for Best Fight for the ending. So how about that?
Okay.
Honestly, I think the portion where she like camouflages as her clothing empty, I was like, that's so smart. That was really cool.
And they did some pretty cool stuff in there that I'm thinking about. Like they had cool wire work because they were like flying and stuff. But then at least one hallway was on a gimbal that was spinning. So like they're on the wall, you know, fighting and like sliding down the ceiling and stuff. It reminded me of Nightmare on Elm Street. You know, kind of cool set stuff that they used to do in the 80s.
Yeah. It felt like that part was like, oh, they had like kind of a budget here.
Some CGI with like snake fingers and
ooh, yeah,
stuff like that.
This is actually like one of my favorite eras of CGI. I kind of like the early, you know, like trying things out, you know, before things kind of became more standard and less you know, like the things stick out more in this, and sometimes that's, I mean, usually when people go back and watch that, it's a bad thing because it really stands out. But for me, I kind of like the audacious nature of it. So
yeah.
Anything else for the craft, or should we move on to practical magic?
Should shout out the soundtrack. Very 90s soundtrack.
Oh, yes,
Our Lady Peace and
very like
stuff like that.
indie rock and stuff like that. Perfect, like teen movie stuff. I meant to say that both these movies have very 90s soundtracks, but in totally different ways.
Yes. One was MTV, one was VH1.
There's just something about them that's different. So what are you doing after school? That's exciting.
How's it going?
That's making everyone want to know them.
I can't stop thinking about you.
And there's a real good reason why.
You're a witch. Watch out for those weirdos.
We are the weirdos, mister.
Rated R at theaters Friday.
Hey everyone, my name's Darren Hupke. I'm a writer, publisher, and podcaster. My podcast is called Pixels and Polygons. Each week I sit down with a guest and ask one simple video game question. It's a random topic each week and it leads to a fun conversation. You can find it on your favorite podcast platform every Friday, and you can read more about it at pixelsandpolygons.net.
Okay, I'm gonna say the poll quote here. Let's see if this would not work as a Little Debbie. A terrific brew of fun and fantasy. So maybe, I don't know.
They need to make
Okay,
like
but
a little
it
cauldron.
does sound like a Starbucks drink.
Coffee, Hostess coffee cake.
It does, yeah. Yeah, that could be like a good Halloween themed Starbucks drink. Maybe a pumpkin spice latte even.
Yeah.
All right, I kind of.
Or a green caramel apple.
I have an even worse shot of the VHS box for this one, so good luck.
Good luck, McKenna.
If a broom falls, company is due. When a circle rings the moon, trouble looms. Should you misplace your broom? Sorry, a hand vac can't be used in an exorcism rite. Fun and excitement abound in the Owens family of wily witches. One problem, though. The men the Owens women fall in love with are doomed to an untimely death. Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman bring a sparkling screen magic to practical magic, adapted from Alice Hoffman's bestseller and directed by Griffin Dunn. They play Sally and Gillian Owens, sisters hexed by a centuries-old curse, and coping with the witch's brew of events involving a possible love match for one, a zombie for the other, and a need to resume the age-old witchcraft taught by two doting Owens aunts. Sit for a spell and enjoy.
Nice.
They definitely got some alliteration in there.
That made me think, like, with what Rod just said, like, yeah, the first movie is teen coded. This is more mom coded, I think.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So practical magic.
It's a midnight margarita movie.
Midnight margaritas.
So we're actually breaking our rule a little bit. We're on the timeline that we've been traveling through the N64 library with. We're in April of 1998. This movie came out October 16th, 98. I don't think anything is gonna come like any harm was gonna come to us by doing this though. Yeah, you said Griffin Dunn's the director, and it's based on the book of the same name by Alice Hoffman, and the screenplay is by Robin Swycord, Akiva Goldsman, and Adam Brooks. And I think did you guys cover this on your show?
Yes, it just so happens that Practical Magic is the 1998 film that most invaded Jess's life.
Okay,
I love witches.
awesome.
No other movie from 98 has Jess seen seen more than this one.
Amazing. Well, I'm glad we could add another tally to the count.
Yeah, I've seen it 3 times now.
And he says he's ready to see it again.
No.
Yeah, you didn't sound thrilled about. I was like, let's throw this in for the episode, and you were like,
yeah. Go through an Audible. Send me a text, say, hey, we're going to watch one movie. Would you rather watch Practical Magic? And Jess and I are on the couch, and I look at her go, no!
well, I hope we're not, retreading too much ground from your show. But,
it's fine.
Every time you watch a movie, it kind of hits you different. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I guess, so Jess, kind of tell us about what this movie has meant to you in your life.
It was the reason I never wanted to get married, because I didn't want to risk my husband dying by cricket. No. It was like one of the few movies that played often on, like, I don't know, HBO or something during the season. And I don't know, I just like ended up watching it a lot. And it was also one of the few that like my parents were like, this is fine. This isn't too strange and creepy. But I don't know. I love the like, I think McKenna said it really well at the beginning, like the warmth of the movie, the coziness of the town that you're in, like even though the stakes get higher as the movie like goes on, it for the most part just feels like I'm living in a small town. I'm opening a shop. I'm living with my family in our old house. And there's something about it that's like really comforting. Plus, most of the outfits are something I would wear today.
A lot of mom jeans.
A lot of mom jeans and cardigans, some like whimsy dresses that I wouldn't be able to get away with because I live in California and it is now 79 degrees in our house. But I don't know. It's just a movie that makes me feel like nostalgic, but with less negativity. What's nostalgic without the negative tint?
I don't know. Super nostalgia, maybe ultra nostalgia. I totally get like this one in particular. As we were watching it, I noted like the one, like the set, the production designs, and you mentioned the costumes really nice. But I thought like the lighting was always super inspired in like almost every scene. Like maybe some like when they're out on the town or like in her shop weren't, but like in their home they always had good like contrasting colors that were both like subtle but also like brought kind of the backgrounds to life and everything, and that just stood out to me the whole time. I was like this room they're in their home looks unreal, like it does not feel like reality because I loved that though. It was cozy, and it was a movie. It felt nostalgic to me, and I'm pretty sure I had seen in the last movie, like the light as a feather, stiff as a board scene. I don't think I've seen any of this movie, and I don't even know how I would begin to actually like describe this movie. Man, it's wild. Like
go watch it, folks, then come back.
I think the tonal shifts in this are even bigger swings.
Oh yeah,
in a way that I kind of found I was kind of endeared to it by the end. I was like, this is like, like. I guess bold that it was like this.
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
It might have been the product of studio meddling.
I know, yeah. I have the quote from the director where he said they wanted to soften the edges of the movie. He said he wanted to go farther with the scene where they put needles in the eye of the villain. What else? There was they wanted him to cut it down. But even with that, I feel like it was a movie. That's what caused. I feel like regardless, the movie would have been bold, and like the fact that like they were, because I feel like you can tell by whatever the original idea of the movie is, like they couldn't have like there's no amount of like cutting the stuff out that would make it not like intense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone had said like, where was it? Oh, some review I'd read said the movie was too scary to be like for kids, but too like goofy to be for adults.
It is in the middle. I think like it's both Hallmark and horror.
That's so that the two H's. What do you think, McKenna?
With just overall.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I like a lot of stuff that's kind of got the scarier edge. I think this is really light on it. You know, it gets into that some, but it's never it always has like a kind of, as they say here, a softer edge on it that I think makes it accessible for a younger audience. Like I feel like I could have watched this as a kid. Maybe not everyone. I think I was somewhat brave as a kid with movies. But yeah, I like the tonal shifts a lot. It feels like you know, it embraces like both sides of witchcraft here. Like there's definitely a love for it and a respect for it, and there's also a fear of it, and you see that embodied in several of the characters. Some of them use it. You know, the ants use it differently than Jilly uses it, which was different than Sandra. What is it? Sally.
Sally.
You know, Sally just avoids it totally.
Yeah, I had read there's I'm not going to read the whole quote, but Akiva Goldsman had said there was like the original movie, it was more kind of 50-50 between the two sisters, and they are kind of like, you know, the two different almost representations of that. Like I even think about in like just like casting Sandra Bullock. She's like, you know, like the America's sweetheart, you know, she's very like wholesome, the VH1. And then I mean, Nicole Kidman's like different in a lot of stuff, but in this, you know, her character is a bit more, she's like, you see her out and she's like partying and stuff.
She's got the fiery, the red hair, yeah, like sexy, more out there, you know, confidence.
So they are like kind of living like two different sort of lives, I guess you could say. Almost two different movies, you know?
Yeah.
That's where I feel like the tonal shift is most effective, is when they show they very early in the movie, both the girls grow up. They're probably like teenager or just out of high school or something. And Nicole Kidman character Jillian decides to run off with a guy. Like, I'm leaving home. I'm leaving this small continental town, you know, and I'm going to go live my life. I'm going to travel to California. And you see where both women are in their lives a few years later. And Sandra Bullock is living a Hallmark movie with Faith Hill music. And you know, it's very sweet. And Jillian is like having like, you know, a wild, sexy time in California, like at the poolside, like dancing with boys. And, you know, she's got like a vampire boyfriend. Not really, not literally a vampire. He looks like one.
Oh yeah, he's a vampire. What do they say? Like a vampire cowboy or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, like her story, like Sandra Bullock's story is a little bit more about, you know, the loss of your husband, and then hers is more about like Nicole Kidman's is more about like domestic abuse and that sort of thing. Yeah. So yeah, when they get together, so they get together, yeah, because they kill the vampire cowboy.
Oh, no.
And I love this because like when it's very weird, but I feel like in particular,
it's a roller coaster ride.
Wait, I'm so sorry. I just remembered that you've never seen this movie before.
Yeah.
I want to know what was your first instinct when, okay, so she's like, I've got to fly to my sister. I'm picking up my sister. I'm driving this man. He's dead. He's alive. He's dead. Like,
let me lick some whipped cream off him.
I just want to know, how was that for you, having no clue where this was going?
This might have been actually. I have it right here. Let's pull up our chat log here because that might have been when I messaged you.
I figured you were sending it to me right at that moment.
I said practical magic is fucking wild. That's I was in awe. I think I sent that particularly when they were like burying him. Actually, that might have been
yes.
What did you think?
Yeah, McKenna, what do you think?
Well, I knew I've seen this before.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I've seen it all like start to finish, but I've seen the whole thing. But I love it.
Mm.
It's great.
With all its flaws and all of its fun.
Sorry.
It's a roller coaster, but I love a roller coaster.
They act very strangely, and then
yes.
I think like to the point where I was like, this is like odd acting. But then what kind of clicked with me is I feel like it felt like they were almost reverting to like their child selves when they were together and like dealing with this issue, after having been so far apart, so and I just thought it was really funny because like again, like they tried to make it became clear, like even before reading the quotes, that they were trying to force this movie like to be a bit more friendly to the public. But also in that moment I'm watching them like bury a guy they just killed, so I was like
twice.
Yeah, so it's like the fact that like that was happening, I was both in awe, but I was like, I think I love this.
It is very funny. Like that's why I'm like, this is a movie you put on with your friends and like just enjoy the ride, especially that portion where they have to get Jillian out of this tough situation with her abusive boyfriend, and it becomes a Thelma and Louise situation. On our show, I did an exercise where I timed it, and I wanted to know how long is it between Sally gets the call from Jilly saying I'm in trouble, I need help, to midnight margaritas. And it's only 20 minutes. And in that 20 minutes, there are like 13 tone shifts. It becomes 13 different movies in that time.
Yeah.
It goes from, a scary domestic abuse type movie where they're trying to get away. There's almost like a crime, like hostage movie in there. There's the Thelma and Louise, we've killed a man, what do we do? Then it's horror. Then it's whimsical slapstick where they've brought him in and they're going to bring him back to life, and they have to draw a pentagram on his chest with whipped cream.
That was awesome.
They're grossed out, and then it's like horror, and they're burying him in the backyard. They hit him with a frying pan.
In that moment, I was also thinking, I was like, because her husband had died, Sandra Bullock's, and I was like, wait, what about like the guy with two color eyes? Like, was that her? Did her husband have that? Like, you know what I mean? I was like,
I don't know.
It ended up being the inspector or whatever who came, Inspector Hallett. But I was like, I don't know. It throws a lot it starts off with them hanging a witch, like, yeah, it was a lot to take in. I did like kind of move between like, I don't know if I like this. I'm not like, I guess we'll see at the end, to like, this is incredible. Like the whole movie, like because then the inspector comes in, he's looking for Jimmy, who they killed twice. And then, now
haunts the house.
He haunts the house. And it does become like a Hallmarky sort of movie in that way. And I started to fade, a little bit, but then like it kept like injecting weirdness, and like, I don't know. It had me to the end. You know what I mean? Like I kept thinking like, am I out on this? And then just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
This movie has 5 to 8 minutes for everyone.
It does.
Yeah. The ants, they're great. I like there's the women at the shop she works with. Like, There's so many baffling things.
They even take a break to go to a PTA meeting. The two witches are basically just like putting up with like, you know, the kind of the gossipy moms in town.
Yeah, that felt very like unnatural or something when they went to it felt like the whole meeting was about establishing a phone tree. Like,
yes,
it was.
'Cause, yeah,
just so that at the end, all the moms in town who like their entire lives hated these two witches suddenly were like, no, you're cool.
Yeah.
In fact, we've wanted to hang out with you the whole
I
time.
love that. It was wholesome and it was mom core.
They all come together because of a shitty man.
yeah, exactly. They had the brooms. The one lady had the
vacuum.
the little vacuum. Good stuff.
Which the back of the box told us was not going to help.
Yeah, it was a lie. Had they seen the movie? I don't know. Like, are there plot details we want to discuss? So, like,
well, I think you said it. It's like they killed this guy. They bury him in the backyard. He haunts the house, and Gary comes in to investigate. And then it's like he needs to figure out what's going on. So they're trying to hide it from the investigator, but also
poorly.
He's a good looking guy, and Sandra Bullock, you know, is it a will they, won't they?
He's got all the right characteristics.
He's got the eyes. Yeah, he's really bad at his job, I would say.
Honestly, he knew what was going on immediately. I thought Gary was like very perceptive at first and thought, well, come on now. What's going on? Like, you two gals need to get a lawyer. I'm coming back. But then he decides, to make out with Sandra Bullock on a pile of evidence in his hotel room.
That's what, I think, like, I don't know. I feel like they're, like, I don't know. Their, like, relationship, I didn't buy it, you know? I didn't.
No, I didn't either.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, maybe that's why. Like, if I was watching it and I was like, oh, he knows, but, like, he's just so... You know, he's just so swept up by her. It would be like over the top, but I would buy into it. But instead, I was like, you need to throw the cuffs on her right now, man. You know, like,
that's how I felt. We talked about this when Jess and I reviewed it for our show, but I said that what really took me out of it was how stupid Jilly and Sally are with specifically with the crime they've committed.
Yeah.
And Jess and I realized maybe we should examine ourselves because we talked through how we would have committed the crime
and gotten away with it.
I feel like
I've always been like, if I was in that kind of situation where it's like, well, he was hurting us, I would have just been like, yeah, we killed him because he was hurting us.
So you would confess to the crime.
Yeah, I've been like, what am I supposed to do? Like,
he was gonna brand me.
You're right. We now have evidence that that's a thing he does.
Yeah, actually, that's very true. Like, yeah, I mean, she kind of does almost, because he comes and he's like, that's his car. She's like, yeah, we stole it. I guess
literally that's so easy to just say, like, yeah, I ran away from him because he hit me and I stole his car. Is he looking for it? You could take it if you need to. Like, such an easy fix.
Don't bring him into the house.
I guess
leave hair everywhere.
What I was thinking was like, he should have had some follow-up questions then, but I guess you're right. He did say, like, because maybe he knows, like, hey, this was probably a bad guy. These seem like nice, if not extremely goofy ladies. So I'm going to give them the opportunity to get a lawyer and talk about it. But then, like, they don't really, you know, maybe they should have. That probably would have helped them out a lot. If it became like a legal drama, like, that would have been kind of cool. Add another...
The one thing this movie is missing.
Another genre.
Oh, man.
Shoot, I don't know. I feel like I had all these thoughts about these different aspects, but it just kind of it's hard to mention like how you feel about the movie without mentioning like everything all at once. I guess one other thing about the biggest thing actually that I'll say about the tonal clash and what felt like studio kind of meddling beyond, like, okay, maybe some of these story elements are played up a different way, was just literally the music. Like,
yes,
which I thought I thought the score was good. It was Alan Silvestri who has done a bunch of movies I love, including the 1992 Super Mario Brothers, the Super Mario Brothers movie. That's my favorite of his, but some might say many other movies, but
Back to the Future,
the
Predator.
But he's got a long list of credits. But the original, they had a different score by Michael Nyman.
They did.
Yeah. And there are some tracks on the soundtrack CD for whatever reason, and I listened to them, and they did have a different vibe. And
well, I didn't listen to those. What was that vibe?
It's hard. It felt more. This might be bad. I'm bad at describing music, but it felt like more classical, I guess. Like when I think of Alan Silvestri is really good at like hooky themes. Like there was like a theme that kept coming up in this movie, and like even if I didn't know it was him, I was like, okay, that kind of has his kind of like hallmark of like almost like something that you'll hear it again in the movie and be like, oh, that's this. And I don't know how to like put the Nyman score up against that because I only heard, like parts of 2 songs, I think it was. But yeah, it felt a bit more. Actually, he described, I think I didn't include it, but he talks about how if he felt like it was one of the best pieces of music he ever wrote, and that it was like, he said it was quintessentially like him or something like that. And it had all these different types of feelings like in the score itself. It goes to different places, and he gets to like explore like different aspects of like the way he composes and stuff. Whereas like the Silvestri score felt like it was trying to, like fit the movie all into like one box or something like that. Like it was very whimsical, you know what I mean? So
yep.
That's kind of like the thing that stood out to me, especially with not just the score, but like then you mentioned the like some of the needle drops. They're very on the nose, this kiss and stuff like that. Very like, it was very funny actually when that song hit. So I can't say I didn't like it, but it was like, oh boy, they were like, we need to inject this with some of that pop. We need a hit, basically a hit song in here.
It's funny.
Sorry, go ahead.
I personally felt like the score, and I love Alan Silvestri. Like the guy's a legend, but this score felt very manipulative to me.
Okay.
Like he was setting a mood in scenes that weren't meant to be in the scene. Like it was like I could feel the director shot a scene in a certain way, but maybe the studio, like Warner Brothers, thought, well, this scene shouldn't be too scary, or this scene needs to be more sentimental. So Alan, just crank up the sentiment, crank up the whimsy. We need the audience to know that they can't be scared in this moment. They need to be, kind of,
I think,
swept up in the romance of it, or with the goofiness of it.
Totally.
And so I felt like the movie is like kind of tugging at itself because in my head, I feel like I'm being insulted, like they're trying to tell me you Rod need to feel this way about it. But I can kind of see the facade.
I think absolutely. Yeah. Actually I have the quote here I don't have the full quote where he described it, but I think changing the score is probably one of the easiest ways like a studio can mess with a movie, right? Because it's like, you don't have to, you just have to change the music a little bit, right? Like, I mean, I'm sure like that's an expensive process and everything, but you don't have to you don't have to get Nicole Kidman in to reshoot anything or whatever. Yeah, he said he felt like he wrote the best score. He said, I think I wrote the best score for any film that had engaged me not at all. It's a miracle how my relationship with Griffin Dunn and his encouragement to write a particular kind of score brought out a score for me that did all of the things I wanted to do. And when it was shown to the head honcho of Warner Brothers, the film had a lot of problems as a film. The narrative didn't make sense. Lorenzo de Bonaventura took one look at it and said, this score has got to go. Not realizing, of course, that I had 6 weeks to work on the score and they had 2 years to work on the film. So I was the whipping boy. So yeah, when you're saying that, Rod, I can totally see that where they're like this isn't the aesthetic, the vibe we want to get across, even though it probably it sounds to me like they had an idea of like what they wanted the film to be. I don't know if it would have been
Yes.
perfect, but it does sound like they had an idea, and then they were like, we need to like take the reins here and fix it, quote unquote.
Well, I think Griffin Dunn is telling a little bit about that, because something tells me, and this is just pure speculation on my part, something tells me Warner Brothers bought the rights to Hoffman's book thinking we're going to get a chick flick out of this. Let's hire Griffin Dunn, who's coming off of Meg Ryan movies, to do a chick flick movie with us. We'll get, Sandra Bullock is coming off of like Speed 2, she's a star. This is going to be, we're going to make,
on the rise.
kind of a, we're going to make a rom-com horror movie. Let's get the rom-com guy in here to do it. And when the rom-com guy said, no, we're making a ghost story because I read the book and it's more spooky than, sentimental. By the time they get to the end of it, Warner Brothers like, this is not what we hired you for. We need to fix this.
I would love to see whatever that version is. Like, and you know how like these cuts are, they're not actually like done, but Akiva Goldsman did say there was a cut of the movie that was like, he said, stunningly beautiful.
Yes.
But like, also he does not have to me, I don't always trust. He gave us Star Trek Picard. So I don't trust this guy necessarily with what he thinks is good, but he has won some awards. So who am I to say?
Release the Griffin cut.
Maybe the original screenplay.
I would honestly love to see it if they ever.
We searched for it. The published scripts that we found, I think, were pretty straight. Of the final film, so I was a little disappointed. But I really do see a lot of evidence of the movie having been changed, and I think like they overuse narration, which I think is a telltale sign of like a movie that's been fixed in post.
The narration, there's a lot of evidence, you could say, to get them.
I really wish that I sometimes maybe I'll just read the book to see what it should have been like, but I don't care for the writing style.
Oh, really?
And I was just like, maybe I'll get the audiobook, but that's just a personal preference. It doesn't mean it's a bad book. It's just harder for me to engage. But I think specifically though, because as I watched this time, I had more of a problem with Jillian's character than I've had in the last few ones. And not because, it's not like anything changed, but there were moments putting it up against knowing from the last time we talked about it and you sharing all your research, which I never do research of how much this was like had everybody's fingers in it. Because there's a part in the scene with the phone tree where Jillian's there with Sally and one of the moms is like, saying like, I hear she gets around and da 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 da, and Jillian uses her magic to slap that woman, and she's like, oh, and I was like, oh, excuse me, even if I am the weakest witch in my family, if I have the power to hit someone with my mind, a man is only going to hit me once. Why did you call your sister? You should have beat that man unconscious with your magic and then walked away. So like there's little things where it's like, I wonder what that would have looked like in the book. And I think that you had talked about it, like the book starts, I
only glanced at the synopsis, so I don't know exactly how the book is structured, but it seems like based on the synopsis I read, the movie doesn't like show them kill Jimmy.
The movie does.
The movie does. The book doesn't. In the book, from what it seemed like, Jillian just shows up at their house one day with a dead dude in the back seat of her car, having survived an abusive relationship, and it's just like, well, how do we deal with this?
And then the rest of the story is the house being haunted by this man they double killed, which is like really interesting. And then in my head, I was like, yes, it makes sense that Jillian could kill that man by herself. I wish I could see it, and there was like lots of little things. I think, Goo, you said it. There's like when they get together, their reactions don't make sense, but it's almost like the last time they were together, they were immature kids and they just fall back into those patterns, which I think is really interesting, a really interesting take. But in doing it, the foil that Jillian creates to like the steadfastness of Sally makes Jillian just not feel weaker, but feel a little more annoying when I'm like, I don't want to be annoyed by you. You survived something and murdered a man. That's real cool.
I agree. Yeah, like to me, it works on like a comedic level in that moment, but on the moment of the character, like and throughout the rest of the movie, it's not like, yeah, it's not that compelling. It's a bit like bizarre, I guess I would say. So I can totally see that. Like, yeah, I'm kind of curious. I'm in the market for another book to read. Maybe is this a reasonable thing to pick up? Should I read? You want to read Practical Magic?
I want to read it.
If you do, please live text us.
Okay. Well, we'll see if the library has it.
I'm sure it does.
Heck yeah.
I read the Witches. I thought that was better than the movie. So, I mean,
wait a minute. If you actually pick up Practical Magic, I will book club with you from a distance.
Okay.
I could get through it if you get through it.
Okay. This is now. I didn't expect this coming out of this, but this is really not okay.
No pressure. You don't have to.
No, I definitely. We're gonna go to the library. Hopefully before I'm about to leave town for a few weeks, and I think that might. You never know. I've been good about reading books lately. I've read more books like this year than I had like the past 5 years. I would say. So I might actually pick this up, but if I do go out of town for a while, this is a total tangent, but if I do go out of town for a while, I will sometimes bring a book and then like never look at it. So, you know how, you're like, I'm going to read this on my trip and then we'll see.
I only do that when I go to the beach.
To the beach? Oh.
If I go to the beach, I will bring a book and I will read the whole thing.
Goo, you read Practical Magic, the one book, and then McKenna, you read that and the sequel novels that Alice Hoffman has published since.
We didn't really talk about that. Both of these movies have either a sequel or a sequel in production.
Yes,
I believe they just wrapped production on Practical Magic 2. Nicole Kidman said that.
That's true of our last set of movies too, with Hocus Pocus and the Witches. Like, I guess.
I did. When I was making my list, it's been the past several years have been like a big 90s remake sequel.
Yeah, I guess that's true of everything.
We're in that 90s nostalgia era.
Okay, and do you think it's just that,
things.
Or do you think also Witches are having another moment?
I do think Witches are having another. I think like they're saying
Halloween in general is having a big thing.
Yeah, true.
The 90s were like third wave feminism, and I think we've had another, especially like Me Too kind of era, another era of feminism.
Yeah, because like both these movies. Yeah, both these movies, I feel like that's part of the thing that they connect with people, obviously, is like using the witch and recontextualizing it to like, how society kind of looks at women and stuff. And I feel like even not like it's not like it ended there. You know what I mean? Like there's more to be said about it than like where we were at in the 90s. So I think I don't know if I don't know if like these movies specifically, like the sequels really say a lot to that, but I think there are other witch movies now that you can look at, or not just movies, anything about witches that kind of sort of add to that conversation.
Yeah.
We talked about that shift to a more positive view of witches, and I think both of these movies that we're talking about today, they're most effective when they lean into like the sisterhood aspect of witchcraft. I think that was something that Jess and I at least appreciated most about Practical Magic, is like the relationship between the two sisters and their aunts and then Sally's little girls. Like, I don't know, there's something sweet and relatable. And then all the soccer moms coming in to help, at least is like kind of uplifting, like this
I love that
group of women coming
like
together to
the
do that.
highest ratio of like women to men in like we watch a lot of movies that are just like there's like one woman here and she's just kind of, I feel like some of the movies we've watched lately
and we're watching a lot of 90s a lot of 90s movies are like there's a lady and it's feminist because she is a scientist, but she's mainly hot the hero who's like a fighter pilot. I'm talking about Lost in Space right now, but it's either that or if they're older, they're like the wife and they go like, "Oh, you men," and then that's really about all they get. So yeah, unfortunately, that's what we've been doing. Nicole Kidman's last movie before this was the Peacemaker with George Clooney, which was just like an American Bond knockoff. She was, I think, the only woman in that movie.
Oh man,
rough.
So I can see why Practical Magic is so beloved, for a generation of women.
Yeah.
It was it did open at number 1, but it was a bomb. I don't think The Craft was, but this one basically had its one weekend, but then I don't think it made its budget back at all. But I think I had read that later when they added it to HBO or HBO Max or whatever, like for the holiday season, it was like one of the top streamed movies. So it kind of reflected that there were a lot of people who wanted to see it.
I was one of them.
Oh, also on the soundtrack, you had 2 Stevie Nicks songs. One was newer, and I think it was like the lead single, and they both had Sheryl Crow on there. And one of them kind of had a resurgence recently. I read on TikTok. It became one of like a big TikTok song, which I didn't know. But so these things are coming back around. That's like the one good. I don't know. I don't want to go boomer mode, but like the one thing I like about TikTok is like every once in a while, like a song that I thought no one had thought about in like 20 years, like all of a sudden becomes popular with children. And I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That must how it felt when like my dad, like when I was a kid and my dad was like, oh, you like Aerosmith or something, like, I don't know. Let's see. Oh, actually, this kind of encapsulates. I just pulled the Roger Ebert quotes because he always has something that I'm like, yep, he kind of nailed it, even if I disagree. And this is basically what we said. He said the movie doesn't seem sure of what tone to adapt, veering uncertainly from horror to laughs to romance. To cue us, it puts a lot of songs on the soundtrack. A movie lacks confidence when it uses music to tell us how to feel. And I believe he specifically mentioned like this kiss is during like the kiss. Yeah. How about that? I don't know, McKenna, any other thoughts on the movie?
I just think it's fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's definitely not perfect, I really enjoy watching it. It's a really nice fall season vibe. Like I said, it's fun to just see like a bunch of women in a movie, both having fun and dealing with shit.
All the men die. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Well, not the one guy.
One guy survived.
He's one of the...
Not yet.
He's gonna die eventually.
I did see like reviews talk about like she's trying. I mean, I get it. Like, I think the reviews were unfair in this. They're like, she's trying so hard to kill that cricket. Like, if you kill that before it happens, do you save him? It's like, obviously that's not the point.
I was like, you should be going out there trying to stop him from getting hit by a car.
Yeah. Well, but they didn't have cell phones, like, so they, what are you gonna do? Your best bet is to go for the cricket. Oh, weren't the kids? They're famous actresses now.
Evan Rachel Wood is one of them.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. One of the, and then I think younger Sandra Bullock was Camilla Bell. Is that her name? She's famous,
That's how
right?
you say it.
Maybe.
Camila.
Yeah, her face.
I don't know. Now I sound old.
This is the second. She was the girl in Jurassic Park 2, right?
The girl who
At the
gets
beginning?
attacked by all those little
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's unfortunate. Jess and Rod, anything else you wanted to throw in about Practical Magic?
Nothing important other than every time I watch that movie, I want that ant's hat. It's so big and fluffy. Maybe I can crochet it.
She wants Stalker Channing's hat.
Her hat is so good and glorious.
Shout out to the ants looked great. It was great fits.
They did.
So great.
What did we watch? I feel like we watched something recently with Stalker Channing in it, but I can't.
Was it Grease? Was it Where the Heart Is?
No.
Those are the only 2 movies I've ever seen.
No,
with her in it.
none of those. I was like, I'm not gonna write what everyone was in because then it's gonna be. That's a thing I tend to do is just like, oh, they were in this, they were in this, they were in this. But then now I'm here like wishing I knew. So
It's fine.
Well, we teased it. We gotta tell the story of the Wiccan consultant for practical
I
magic.
forgot about this. Yeah, there was issues with this,
but
right?
Yes. Well, one, I do need to say, I think just like with The Craft, you watch this and you could tell that someone cared about, portraying witchcraft respectfully. For the most part, it's like, they talk about it like Sally owns her little shop and she's got candles and stuff like that. And it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
There was a respect.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The story I read was that the Wiccan consultant on practical magic, he got a little too like full of himself and demanded that the studio pay him more and like buy him a house or buy him an apartment or something. He just demanded more money, and when they refused, he put a hex on the film.
Maybe he succeeded.
Which is why it didn't make its money back.
Yeah, maybe it didn't make its money back.
Damn. Okay. Well, I think he sounds awesome, actually.
He wanted a producer credit, like he wanted, or something like that.
I think deserved. I don't know much about this person, but deserved. The only thing she's not even one of the leads, but another movie that was in our timeline, Stockard Channing was in the first Wives Club. Yeah,
that's a good movie.
Yeah, Bette Midler stars in it. Another one of our witches. So there you go. And yeah, okay. Anyway, I had to like pick that part of my brain. Yeah, I like that both the movies were like they were trying to be somewhat honest about their witch portrayals and not yeah, I don't know, it didn't feel exploitative, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it wasn't hocus pocus.
Yeah.
They're enchanting, breathtaking, bewitching sisters.
Magic isn't just spells and potions.
Now it will take all their power to make love come alive. Sandra Bullock, Nicole Kidman.
Do you ever put your arms out and spin and spin and spin? Oh, that's what love is like.
Practical magic.
Do you find yourself playing older games and wishing that there were new discussions about those games? Enter Tales from the Backlog. Hi, I'm Dave Jackson, and on each episode, I'm joined by a guest to break down those games that may be stuck in your ever-expanding backlog. Each episode looks at one game in depth, focusing on mechanics, story, music, and other aspects with no spoilers until a clearly marked spoiler wall in the middle. If you've played the game, go ahead and climb that spoiler wall and enjoy in-depth story discussions, and if not, jump out when we warn you and maybe go play that game for yourself. We have over 100 episodes in the feed, everything from Disco Elysium to Tunic to discussion episodes about how to get into horror games, and if games actually need to be fun, or if they have more to offer. I guarantee that there's something in there for everybody. Once again, that's Tales from the Backlog, available wherever your podcasts are found.
That probably covers it for both of these. Thank you guys so much for coming on and talking about these with us. We always appreciate having you on. Do you want to promote Media Made? Tell people about it. I'm sure our listeners know, but remind them where they can find it and everything.
Yeah, you can find Media Made on all your podcast platforms. We are on Blue Sky and on Instagram at Media Made on Blue Sky, at Media Made Show on Instagram. We just announced we're taking a break. So you're keeping us in the game for a little bit longer.
I missed that.
We were sad we weren't going to be able to have a Halloween episode this year, but here we are. You're our Halloween episode, so thank you for having us.
We're enjoying this.
Yeah, so we're going to be taking a little bit of a hiatus just because we have some stuff going on in our lives, but it's also going to give us a chance to maybe build up a backlog again.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Instead of doing month to month.
Yeah, so we go year by year, talk about movies, music, and TV from each year. We just wrapped up our 2009 shows. So before we jump into the 2010s, we're going to take a little bit of break.
Yeah, and we also had discussed we are going to go back over our lists because like you had said at some point, you're like, maybe we won't watch all of Buffy right now because we'll have to watch it again. It's basically what we had to do. We went through all of the movies that we watched and we were like, we've been doing this 5 years. There might be some stuff that has changed. So let's see if we need to rewatch these or watch new things.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to hear more about even practical magic, we talked about it. 98 movies. We watched that in Mulan.
Yes.
Ooh, awesome.
Wow.
2 movies about powerful women.
Yeah,
Dude, Mulan was such a big one for me. I had that one on VHS as a kid. Pop that big bubbly case open. Ooh, that's good stuff. Yeah. And I'm sure like your episode, you guys go into great detail about these things. I always love how your episodes are laid out. And so it's both, they're all very informative on like the production and the history of whatever it is, movie, album or whatever. Like I love like the structure of it, but then, yeah, you guys are really good at, really hitting on like the story and the themes and everything. So, something where we condense it down and squeeze it into a smaller format. So I think if you go back and you listen to Practical Magic, you'll hear a lot more. It's basically going to be better than the half of our episode here, I'll say. So everyone should check it out.
No, I don't know.
I don't think so. This was way more fun. I love you, though.
And I loved the 2009 episodes. The movies one hit hard for me because they're both very relevant to me. So it was like, yeah, that was a great one.
But my movie was better.
Yeah. I know you got a lot of Star Trek fans in your audience, so we just talked Star Trek and Inglourious Bastards.
Oh yeah, that was good. That was hard to hold back when you're asking me. Once you start asking me about Star Trek, I was like, oh God, I'm gonna have to make sure I don't blow Rod up right now.
McKenna, Star Trek 2009, thumbs up, thumbs down?
Now that I've seen the shows, I'm kind of like, meh.
It's the best of the new ones, I think.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but I'm also like, I definitely would much rather watch most of the shows.
We're the actually the shows are better and Star Trek is better as a show. Like that's me too. Yeah.
Just knowing like the tone of the show.
And look, they won. These people are in charge. Akiva Goldsman and all these people, they're the ones who they're making Trek now. So they won the battle. Akiva Goldsman and what's the main guy? We don't have time to get into
Alex
Kurtzman.
Yeah,
is that what it is?
Alex Kurtzman. Yeah. Ugh. Okay.
There are episodes of Star Trek that have made me cry. So
yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah, I feel like generally I'm on the side of TV shows are better than movies. I will always choose TV shows over movies.
Yeah. Well, a show like Star Trek where it's like each week you're on a different. That's something we just watched Lost in Space, 1998, just because it's in our timeline, and it's like that's based on an old show, and it's like how do you do this show where like each week they're like 1 week it's like I don't know they're probably on just like meeting some like in the movie it's like they meet a CGI monkey, they have a robot that's trying to kill them, there's a time travel part, and it's like they're trying to have everything that like could be an adventure they'd go on in a movie, but how do you do that in just a movie,
Yeah.
I think the best thing to try to make into a movie is like a book or something, even though there's so much more detail that you miss out on. It at least feels like you're better off. I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation. All right. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming back on. We really appreciate it. Glad we could kick off the spooky season right.
Yeah.
We hope everyone enjoyed. You can check out all our stuff at flashback64.com, other podcast network stuff at soundstone.network, and happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Bye.
The Zelda Cast is getting even bigger. Join us on patreon.com/SPNet for access to the Zelda Cast XL, the new bonus show featuring podcasting's dynamic duo, Andy Spiteri and Gooey Fame.
We're taking a new approach to do our bonus shows and giving you more of what you love, letting you get more involved in the show itself. Each month, we'll have some fun and play a few games, answer some Patreon questions, and discuss some Zelda topics on a more personal level.
Consider joining for only $4 a month, and you can ask us questions about Zelda or anything else on your mind. Let us know what topics and segments you want us to discuss, and be a part of an amazing community of Zelda fans hosted by two best friends.
The ZeldaCast XL is taking everything you love about the show and ramping it up even more. So come and hang out with us, only on patreon.com/spnet.